Hey guys, welcome to Do By Design. Today I'm going to be doing part 4 of the gaming PC build, and in this we are going to be installing the Intel i5-4460 into the gaming motherboard I got here, which is the Z97X Gaming 3 motherboard here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let you guys know you can click on the top right if you would like to see the video unboxing of the Intel i5-4460. It's going to probably take me a day to get that video up, so if it doesn't work, come back probably tomorrow, and it will likely work for you. So the first thing you're going to look out for is you see these little notches on the end of the CPU here. What you're going to want to do is match those notches right there with the notches that are on the holder for you. So you can see the notches right there. I'm going to show you where they are a little closer. You can see those notches right there are what you are going to match the notches on the CPU up with. And that's just basically going to make sure that you align your CPU properly so that you don't damage it while you're installing it. And I do apologize, guys. Once I get to the installing the fan for the CPU, there is a glitch in the video itself, so I ended up editing it out. And basically what that glitch is it's the part where you press the two edges or opposite edges while you're installing the CPU, and it'll make more sense when we get to it there. But either way, once you get that CPU lined up, you're going to go ahead and lock down the holder for it. Make sure that everything is secure, there's no movement so you don't damage it. So this is the part where I'm going to talk about here, guys. This is going to be the CPU fan itself, and you can see that there is thermal paste already applied to it by Intel, and that is going to be enough thermal paste. You do not need any more thermal paste than that, although a lot of people will put more thermal paste on it. I don't recommend doing that. This is the part that is super important. You want to just make sure that you align it up perfectly before letting it touch. So you can see I've got it a little bit off there, and that's okay, but make sure you're pretty close because you don't want to ruin the paste and how it sets. So this is the part where it gets a little bit corrupted, and what I'm going to tell you guys to do is take opposite ends of these knobs here, push on them at the same time, and turn them. So you're going to push once on either side, and you're going to make sure you do that just to make sure you install it without doing any damage. Again, I apologize. I know that is an important part of the install there, and the video glitched on me, and I ended up installing the actual motherboard into my CPU itself, so I couldn't actually retake it. So what we're doing here right now is just basically putting in the loose wires for the CPU power supply, which plugs into the motherboard, as you see, and I just did there. And once we get that, we are going to go ahead and put the motherboard with the attached CPU into our case itself here. So you can see I'm just tightening up the wires here to make sure that there's nothing sloppy and that they're not going to actually hit the fan or the fan blades, because that would be really unfortunate, and we really want to make sure that it cools properly. So what I like to do first off with the backplate on my motherboards here when I'm installing them is put them on the motherboard while the motherboard's inside, and then push it up against the back wall of the tower itself. The reason I do that is to make sure that you are putting the backplate on the proper way, because there's nothing worse than putting the backplate on upside down or the wrong way and then pulling it out, because you always damage it every single time. It is very, very thin and flexible tin, so I like to make sure that we do that. You can see here right now what I did is basically made it so that it was basically taut inside, and then I'll pull the motherboard away, and then we will go ahead and make sure we press on the backplate there to make sure everything is in place. So now that we've got the motherboard away here, let's go ahead and do that. And you can see that we're being pretty careful with the motherboard because we don't want to damage or scratch any components of it, obviously, because that will cause us huge issues later on, which we would like to avoid because we just spent all this money on building a gaming PC. So now we've just about got the backplate in here, and we are going to go ahead and push the motherboard back into place. So another thing I want to make sure you guys know to do is when you're installing the motherboard into your actual tower itself, make sure that you line it up properly and start with putting the screws that are closest towards the backplate. And you'll see that's what I do here. And I'm actually going to speed up the footage here because basically it's going to be me screwing in 6 screws, and that's not super exciting. So you can see what I'm doing here is pushing it against and starting with the screw that is closest to the backplate. Then we're going to go to the other screw closest to the backplate here, and we're going to put those in. Once we've got those two in, then it doesn't really matter what order you actually put your screws in. You're just going to put them in and make sure that they are taut. Not over tight because you don't want to actually crack the motherboard itself, but just tight enough that you can feel that there's no play left in them. And that is going to be all there is to installing the motherboard into your tower here, guys. You can see we're just about to put the last screw in, and that is all. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it useful at all, it sure would help me a lot if you guys would click that like button. Also, if you guys have time, you can hit that bright yellow subscribe button just in the center there. That'll notify you every time I publish a new video. Thanks very much for watching, guys.